AITA for charging rent from my friends and imposing a cleaning fee. I'll make this as short as possible. I own a holiday apartment in Italy that I rent out. My friends asked me if they could stay there and I charged them 70% the normal rate. They left the apartment, less than clean, to a point where the maid, who told me about this, had to take the sheets to a local laundry. They denied leaving the apartment like that. This can't be true, however. It was clean before the stay and nobody had been there till the maid told me about its state. I told them that would be €150 for the extra work and that's me being generous with them. Normally it would be €250 for that amount of work/time plus the cleaning cost, etc. They were less than happy, even told me I was a jerk for charging them rent to begin with. You don't charge friends. I told them to pay the cleaning fee and get bent. AITA?
AITA, again. Hi all, you may recognize my username as I posted on this feed about a month ago where I asked if I'd be ta for not letting my mum pick one of my bridesmaids, a little girl aged 6, who in both posts was/will be referenced as child 6. I posted an update on that post about how the issue had been resolved, but today I've found out that it perhaps isn't quite as resolved as I'd thought. I popped over to my parents' house this evening to drop off something my mum left at my house over the weekend. We see each other quite regularly but always have lots to chat about, and of course the wedding comes up a lot as we draw closer, 6 months to go. The three of us were chatting about all sorts of bits from hairstyles to suits, and then my mum asked who would be walking her down the aisle. Background info: we are UK based. It's quite normal here for the mob/mog to spend the morning with the bride and bridal party, walk to the top of the aisle with the BP and fob and then be the last to take her seat, along with mog. That said, they don't have an entrance, them sitting down just sort of shows that everything is about to begin. Our wedding party don't have anyone accompanying them as they walk down the aisle. The bridesmaids and flower girls go first, followed by bride and fob. On the back of this we explained the above and confirmed she wouldn't have anyone accompanying her as such, but her and Mog could take their seats last as is traditional if she wanted. There's not a wait for this, they are just last in, so to speak. If she didn't want to do so, I said it would be fine to walk in with the rest of the guests and take a seat at that point, thinking that really these are the only two options. She then asked how I'd feel if she could walk down the aisle and take her seat last with child 6. She said she didn't want to argue, so if I didn't want that, that was fine, but she wanted to ask. She advised this was her own idea and wasn't because child 6 parents/grandparents were pushing for the child to be involved. I said I'd think about it. Child 6 apparently has no idea about this plan. I'm so torn. On one hand, who cares if she holds a child's hand when she walks down the aisle to take her seat? I get it. Mum would clearly be thrilled on the day if child 6 could be involved. On the other hand, she knows how upset, and fairly angry if I'm honest, that I've been about this issue, and the fact that she continues to ask for this child to be involved about this feels very hurtful in a way. Are my wishes, supported and agreed with by my partner, not the most important? So I put it to you again, Reddit, AITA, if I do not let my mum walk with child 6 down the aisle at our wedding? Cheers. Best friend turned bridezilla after I told her I couldn't party for days since I'm now sober. According to my friend 34F, our issues actually started a year ago. However, I 29F was not told that we have any issues until about a month ago. Coincidentally, it was at the same time as when I told her I couldn't party for her wedding because I'm now sober. For context, I am an artist, and until I decided to change careers very recently because I wanted a stable salary, I worked as a professional artist. Before the pandemic, I was running 2 businesses, but most of the funding dried up during the pandemic, so I had to move back in with my parents and decided to transition careers. When I met her 9 years ago, we were both the artsy broke types. Since then, she got a 6-figure job and is now engaged with an engineer whose rich family bought them a house. Since they don't pay rent and make over $250,000 between the both of them, they are constantly spending money. When we first met, we would split the bill, but now that she has all of this money, she insisted on paying for everything because she wanted to go to the most expensive places in the city. When I told her I wanted to switch careers because I'm burned out from financial stress due to the pandemic, she discouraged me by telling me I'm never gonna be as good at anything as I am at my art. She also offered to put me up in her spare bedroom and pay for my living expenses so that I could keep going with my art career, but I declined because I don't want to depend on others. Up until recently, I was freelancing, working multiple jobs, sometimes up to 80-hour weeks, and doing educational programs. I just got an offer for my dream job, so money is not as much of an issue now. However, when she was asking me to pay for bridesmaid stuff, I was really struggling financially. Weddings aren't my thing, and I even decided to skip my cousin's wedding because my dad and I would rather spend that money traveling abroad. Despite that, I spent hours upon hours staying up with her to sort out all of the wedding plans. Even though I'm not into weddings, I wanted to show my friend that I support her, so I did take an active part in the wedding process. I also offered her my professional services for free, that way she could save on some costs. She originally wanted to do a destination wedding in Mexico, where I studied abroad. I did a ton of research and talked to friends in Mexico so that she could have a destination wedding without making the guests pay American prices to stay in a resort. I was also Googling things in Spanish since the prices are lower if you search in Spanish. However, after I spent entire weeks and late nights researching with her and translating things for her, she decided she did not feel comfortable having her wedding guests stay outside of a resort, in a regular hotel, because was scared they might get too drunk and end up getting trafficked. I'll spare you my thoughts on this. She wanted to make all of her guests pay $500 a night to attend the wedding, but everyone told her to get a grip. Her and her fiancé decided to just do a local wedding. She wants to drive cross-country for her baccalaureate. I've been trying to tell her I can't make it because I was either going to be working full-time and using my vacation days to visit my home country, or too broke to pay for my share of the trip. She wanted me to stay the entire weekend of the wedding at a hotel that costs $200 a night and is 30 minutes from my house. I told her I was just gonna Uber back and forth on the wedding day. She was insisting that I needed to find a way to make her wedding a priority. I told her that I will be at her wedding, but that she can't expect me to prioritize partying with her for multiple days in a row.
Bridezilla and Groomzilla want groom's brother's wife to stay with the kids because she needs assistance and is slow to respond sometimes. Just gross. My 36 brother, 30, got married this past weekend. I was supposed to be his best man. The wedding was 12 plus because they didn't want to have to deal with toddlers and such, which is fair enough. A lot of guests do have young kids though, so they decided to have a venue nearby with a professional sitter if parents wanted to drop kids off there. My wife has some injuries that make her slow to respond/understand what others are saying, and she needs help sometimes with her food. I'll cut it up into small pieces. This doesn't mean she's nothing, and she's a smart, capable woman. They had the rehearsal dinner. At the end, my sil pulled me aside saying she had to discuss something with me. She said they told us about the additional venue they'll be having for their wedding. I said yes. Then she asked if my wife had any particular food preferences, and they would order extra food for her there. I was extremely confused and told her we already gave our meal choices, but she said my wife would be better suited at the second venue. I remember just sort of staring at her for a bit and asking if she was serious, that she expected my wife to be with the babysitter. Sil said it's not like that and they're just looking out for my wife, and I don't have to feed her or anything, and can have fun at the wedding. My brother came over and I told him I've literally never heard such shit, that they think my wife is a child to left with a sitter. Brother said it's for the best, and if I want I can always go over and check on her. I told him if this is the way they're treating my wife, I have no desire to be part of their shit show, and dropped out as best man. Well, all hell broke loose and some people agreed I was right, but my parents texted, called, everything saying they don't agree with this either, but it's their choice, and to get over my ego and come. I didn't end up going. I did hear they got one of the groomsmen to give a speech and overall it was fine, but my brother sent me a text saying he expected better from me. I replied back saying I expected better from him. My sil sent a long ass text that I ruined their big day on purpose and made them look bad.